It's no secret that the United States is a role model for higher education across the country, or across the globe. We have an amazing love for it here, and we value it quite deeply, and we've proven our skill in providing it. We bring young, talented people together under the same roof to learn, experiment, and experience. It's this unique combination of academic and character education that makes students grow and that allows them an opportunity at the middle class. But what I want to talk to you all tonight about is the darker side of education, one that many are unable or afraid to discuss. Those of us here know that we often face institutional red tape and brick walls with no advocates when the higher-ups say no. Not too long ago, a friend of mine, a motivated, talented student, was struck with depression. Now, as she dealt with her diagnosis, she looked to her university for help. But her university provided inadequate resources. And she soon realized that her experience was not unlike that of many at her university. So she begins working on a mental health support network run by students. She figures it'll be cost-effective, self-sustaining, and altogether not too difficult. And so she brings together 30 fellow students, and they begin working day and night, researching, laying the groundwork for this network, and then they reach conversations with administrators. Conversations that lead to more conversations, and then more conversations, and then a few months later, some more conversations, and by the end of the school year, they're done. They're left with nothing, because that's all they had, conversations. Unfortunately, this story is not unlike that of many people across many universities in the United States. A passionate, motivated student identifies an issue and works on that issue tirelessly, only to realize that they have no weight in their own community. Without long-term and strong organizing efforts to promote any agenda, no one will ever listen. In fact, legislators will never begin reversing the cuts that they've made to higher education in the past 40 years. Now, let me explain. The decision to attend higher education is a cost-benefit analysis. You have academics, credentials, offset by the cost of attending. In the 1960s and 70s, public investment was high. And that means that public universities didn't have to charge much, but gave a stellar education. And that means for students, that it was a no-brainer. They went to public university and then got a good education. And private universities, in order to compete, had to keep prices low. But now if we fast forward to today, we'll notice that at every micro-recession over the past 40 years, public investment in higher education has been slashed. What that does is it means that public universities need to start jacking up prices. In fact, today, over 50% of public university revenue is derived from tuition alone. And what that means for us is that private universities can charge whatever they want because they have a monopoly on the top tier of education. So people pay. The end result is that students and society suffer. Right now, we have a $1.3 trillion student debt crisis in the United States. We're not moving forward, we're moving back to a culture of educational exclusivity, just like we had in the 1920s, when only the most wealthy and privileged could attend higher education. But what happens when students organize? Those who are most directly affected by skyrocketing costs. In 2012, a Canadian student movement organized over 200,000 students, faculty, and community members to protest not the 2,000 or 3,000 average increase of the United States, but a few hundred. The result? No tuition hikes. Student organizing in the United States and across the globe has a vibrant history of profoundly improving society. We've lifted up oppressed people, opened up financial barriers to enter institutions, and most importantly, through higher education, taught each other how to interact within a broader community. So where are we now? Well, for all the good student organizing is done, it, and by association, the core values of higher education in the United States have been neutered. Student unions, or now known as student governments in the United States, have been gradually herded into becoming programming councils that have little to no fiscal or organizing power. Now, in 1970, at Boston University, the administration tried to remove the student newspaper and fire a tenured professor solely based on his political orientation. The response? So the student union organized 7,000 students, faculty, and community members to the streets to protest, and it worked. Now it's difficult to find even 70 students to protest at Boston University. Now, they say that students don't want to get involved because we're apathetic, because who wants to get involved with these organizations anyways? But how can they say that students are apathetic when their involvement makes no difference? When their calls for mental health support are neglected? When their aims to get safe housing are ignored, and just the simple request for a reason for the answer are in vain? Even when the student body as a whole agrees on an issue, the bureaucratic system shuts it down. No longer will we wait as millions are taught to obey rather than thrive, and are left with debt rather than opportunity. We need to organize. We need a seat at the table. Now, to make this all happen, it won't be easy. We're going to need long-term organizing with a clear vision. But that takes time. That's not something that most students have, because we need jobs to pay off our student loans. And because we're also passing, we're here for a few years. Administrators, on the other hand, are near permanent fixtures at universities. So how do we get beyond this? We need to use student government elections as a catalyst for organizing. By developing a campaign-style organizing infrastructure, we can start building that power and building that long-term change. We also need a party system where students and alumni can focus on long-term changes, solutions, and power building rather than reinventing the wheel year after year after year and on issue after issue after issue. And finally, we need a seat at the table where we can work with administrators and faculty and staff and the board members rather than just programming. With these ideas in mind, I began a journey to bring this kind of system, this kind of culture, to Boston University. Last year, I, along with over 100 fellow students, began an experiment to transform higher education. It's called TrueBU. It's a fledgling college political party. We promised community, empowerment, and vision, and we delivered. Well, we might not have won the student government election that year, but we did deliver because those ideals have remained, and that organizing infrastructure has remained as well. And actually, right now, for the first time in Boston University's over 150-year history, there is a party offering a common vision for long-term, real change, for things that affect students' day-to-day lives. For the first time, we're offering a way to build that. Listen, I'm not offering a cure-all. I'm not offering to fix this immediately. Not this year, not next year, not even in 3 or 4 years. But this is an idea for a vision of higher education. A vision that will bring together students, faculty, alumni, college campuses across the country for an affordable, equitable higher education system. A vision for a university where students care about each other's mental health, where we're provided safe housing, and we know why decisions are being made, and we have a say in them. A vision for a true BU, a vision for a true Northeastern, a vision for a true UMass Boston, a vision for a true university. Thank you very much, and have a good night.